My name is Matt Smith. I'm a senior product manager on our pricing team, where we build tools for sellers such as yourselves to set and manage prices, as well as scale their businesses through automated pricing strategies. And that is the topic of today's talk. So we'll be starting with competitive pricing, what it is, how it works, and why it's important for your business. Then we'll be going into the notifications that we offer to help you stay on top of those competitive prices. Then we'll be talking about our Seller Central tools. So we have a variety of dashboards you can use to stay on top of competitive pricing. And we'll be ending the talk with the tools we offer to help scale your business through automated pricing to help reduce the amount of manual price adjustments you make. As we're going through the talk today, if you have any questions, we would love to hear from you. So you can use this QR code to submit them through the Accelerate app. From there, you can see other questions and vote on them, as well as submit your own. So we will be reviewing those and taking about 10 minutes at the end of the talk to address them. So diving right in, what do we mean by competitive pricing? Well, some of you may be familiar with this concept as you sold on Amazon, but just a quick refresher for everyone. At Amazon, we consider an item to be competitive if it is priced at or below the lowest price retailer outside of Amazon. Now that's a lot to take in. It was a lot for me to say, so let's go through an example. Let's say you're shopping for these 3-pack of Clorox wipes, and you can find this item at another website for $9. If you go to search for this same item at Amazon and you see that 3-pack of Clorox wipes for $10, we would consider that to be an uncompetitive price. So to be competitive, it has to be priced at $9 or below. Even 1 cent above $9, it would be uncompetitive. We do take shipping into consideration when we make this comparison on Amazon. So in this example, if the price for the item was $8 plus $2 shipping, we would still consider that to be $10 and thus uncompetitive. So how does competitive pricing, what does it mean for your business? Well, to understand that, we have to talk a little bit about the featured offer. So here's an oyster knife available on Amazon for $38. And while there's 9 different sellers with offers on this product, only one of them, in this case Fish Gear, is the item that's shown to customers with that add to cart and buy now button. So we would say that Fish Gear is being placed as the featured offer. So when a customer clicks that add to cart button or that buy now button, Fish Gears will be the one that is purchased. If you're wondering how we'd make this determination on which of those offers gets placed as the featured offer, there's a wide variety of different dimensions, but the 3 key ones are a quality price, fast shipping, and great customer service. So if you improve your offer in any of those dimensions, you'll increase your chances of being the featured offer. So as you can imagine, this placement in front of customers with the add to cart and buy now button can increase your sales through that increased visibility. In fact, we have data that suggests that being that featured offer can accelerate your sales up to 50%. We try to take price into consideration other parts of the customer journey on our website. So for instance, we take competitiveness into consideration in our search rank results. So competitive prices are going to be shown more to customers in those results than uncompetitive prices. If you're not the featured offer, customers can still buy your item by clicking that See All Buying Options link right below the featured offer. It'll take them to this page where you can see every offer on the item. You can see it's ordered by price. So even if you're not the featured offer, price is still important because a lower price will put you higher up on this list and reduce the amount of scrolling that customers have to do to see your item and add them to the cart. So what happens if an item isn't competitive? How does competitiveness play into this? Well, very simply, if your item price is not competitive, it's not eligible to be the featured offer. Here's an example of a calculator available on Amazon for $17, but you wouldn't actually know it from this screenshot because we don't have a featured offer. Instead, we have this view that says no featured offers available. And that's because none of the 8 different sellers that are selling this product have met that competitive price. So these offers are still buyable. We don't make these offers inactive. Customers can still see them and can still buy them by clicking on that See All Buying Options link right below the box. And that'll take them to the previous seen listing page where they can see all the offers and buy one there. When this happens, we may be pointing customers to other similar products that are competitively priced. So you might have seen there can be a widget at the top of the screen with similar products to the one the customer is viewing, with a link to their detail page, so that we're sending customers to places where there's great prices. Now, one of the things that customers love about Amazon is just the sheer breadth of selection made available. And that's a testament to all of you who do a great job at putting items on our website that customers really care about. For instance, you can see all the brilliant lobster-themed products we have here. But when we have such wide depth of unique selection, we can't always find a competitive external price to compare to. So when this happens, we use a few different ways to still ensure that customers see great prices by ensuring that featured offer eligibility is based on price. So an offer may not be eligible for the featured offer if it's higher than the recent sales price, the current featured offer price, or the list price of the item. We also have a variety of mechanisms to ensure that when you set a price, that you don't accidentally set your prices in error. So if you've ever been manually adjusting prices and you make a mistake, we'll hopefully detect that and deactivate your listings. So for instance, if you have a minimum and a maximum price set up for your SKUs, and you try to submit a price that's below your minimum, we'll detect that and deactivate your listings so that customers can't see and purchase a product of yours at a pricing error. We also have pricing errors in the other direction as well. So if you set a very high price for an item, customers still won't be able to see that both on the featured offer and also on the listing, the See All Buying Options page, because we've deactivated the offer. So now that we know how competitive pricing works and how the featured offer works on Amazon, let's talk a little bit about what you have available to you to stay on top of this. So we'll start with our notifications. The first one very simply being email. So we will send you emails whenever one of your products is not competitively priced. In this email, we'll include up to 50 ASINs with the product, your price, and what the competitive price is. So you can see in this example here, this particular seller is selling a laptop for around $212, and the competitive price is $202. So the seller has to reduce their price by $10 to regain that eligibility for the featured offer. Within this email, we'll include a link to Seller Central that will take you directly to that product and allow you to update that price to the competitive price and regain access to the featured offer. If you're looking for these emails and can't find them, make sure to check your junk folder. Sometimes they end up there. Now, we realize that email might not be the best way to manage some of your pricing. Perhaps you get a ton of emails or the emails just don't go to the right inbox. With that in mind, we have the Pricing Health Dashboard, which has a ton of information on all of this stuff. So the two I'll highlight are our Pricing Opportunities tab and the Inactive Offers tab. So Pricing Opportunities will let you know whenever your price is ineligible to be the featured offer due to an uncompetitive price or a higher than typical price that we mentioned earlier. Within this view, you'll have the option to one-click match that external price so that you don't have to manually enter the competitive price. We'll do that for you. And you can also, if you want to enter your own price in as well, you can do that too. Within this view, we also put in cases where your product is eligible to be the featured offer. It is competitive. However, there's another seller on that ASIN that has a lower price and is being featured. Again, you'll be able to match that price and again, increase your chances of being the featured offer through that price. We also have our inactive offers portion of it as well. So I mentioned that pricing errors will deactivate your listing. So we also have those listed there as well. So you can see which listings have been deactivated and get their price fixed so that your offer is being able to be seen by customers and purchased by customers. We do have a download option for all of your opportunities. So if you click that button, you'll be able to see all of them in a file and process them offline if you have a ton of opportunities that makes using the UI a little cumbersome. We put a variety of different reference prices in this dashboard. So you'll be able to see not just the competitive price, but other prices such as the list price or the average selling price of the item. We also have these notifications in other places as well. So the Seller Central homepage, you may have noticed there's a widget that comes up that will show you an uncompetitive price with the option to update your price to what that is. So we will pre-fill in the item price that's needed to match that competitive price when inclusive of shipping. The Seller app also has these notifications as well. So the same types of notifications that we talked about, both featured offer and eligibility, as well as cases where you're close to the featured offer price and you're not winning the featured offer. Again, both with the ability to just tap that button and match those prices. We try to embed this functionality within all parts of the selling on Amazon journey. So if you're used to going to the Manage All Inventory page to update your listings or your inventory or your shipping, we also have this functionality directly there as well. So you see on that pricing and shipping cost column, we have most importantly what your price is and the ability to update it, but we also have a variety of reference prices below and the option to match those. So in this case, we have the featured offer price. Again, with that option to match with one click, we have the competitive price. In this case, there is no competitive price because we don't have an external price to reference. We'll also put the lowest price, so that might not be the featured offer price. And so just to give you reference on what other sellers are selling the product at. You notice that view reference and business prices option in that view. So if you click that, that'll open a different view that gives you a bunch more information about pricing. You can set your minimum and maximum prices to ensure that there aren't price errors when updating your prices, but I also like to call your attention to two other things. So the enroll and automate pricing. If you're trying to minimize the amount of manual effort needed to respond to different market changes and update your price, this is a great option to be able to use to set rules. And we'll talk a little bit about automate pricing later on. But for now, I'd like to draw your attention to the similar products links. So we have two links there, one to view and one to edit. This is a fairly new feature on Seller Central. So let's talk a little bit more about what that looks like. So all of the features we've talked about so far are great for sellers who are competing with other sellers on their products, but some of you may be brand owners and are thinking to yourselves, that's great, but on my products, I'm typically the only seller on those products. And so there isn't necessarily another seller to compete with. I'm more concerned about where my prices stack up across other products that are similar to mine. So with that in mind, we have the similar products dashboard. We will, for every SKU, we'll suggest some similar products based on the data that we have with the ability to add them and save them to that view. We'll also allow you to add your own. So if you've done market research on your products and you realize that, hey, I have a list of similar products I want to be making sure I'm priced competitively against, you can add those here as well. So in this case, we have a tire gauge, and Amazon has suggested a few other tire gauges for the seller, but they can still add their own. Within this view, we provide variety of different information, but most importantly, who those competitors are, what their price is, and what the sales rank of those categories are. So you can kind of measure up your prices against other popular products in that category. So let's talk about pricing for scale. So all the tools we've talked about so far are great if you're making manual updates to the prices on your catalog, but a lot of sellers want to save time by just having more automation and having rules that dictate how their prices look. And they use the automate pricing feature for that. So as the name suggests, automate pricing allows you to associate the SKUs in your catalog to pricing rules so that Amazon will handle all the price updates when it comes to different events. And we'll talk about those in a second. But there's two different ways that you can use automate pricing. One is through our predefined rules, and one is creating your own rules. So predefined rules are fairly simple rules that we offer out of the box. You don't have to worry about customizing that. The first one we'll talk about is the featured offer rule. So this will update your price whenever there's a featured offer price that is lower than yours. It's very similar to some of those manual updates we saw earlier where you can match the featured offer. So this will handle that for you. Again, you can set limits and boundaries for this. So if you want to ensure that these rules only work between your minimum and maximum prices, we will honor those. We also have the competitive price match rule. So this allows you to ensure that you never become featured offer ineligible due to an uncompetitive price, because that item can be bought for a lower price outside of Amazon. So if you enroll one of your SKUs in this rule, we'll ensure that your price at least matches that competitive external price. To get started with automate pricing, you can use the pricing tab in Seller Central, then select automate pricing. That'll take you to a view that shows you all of the rules. By default, we'll have our default rules there, but you can also create your own. Once you have your rules, you can select the enroll button, which will allow you to associate SKUs to that specific rule. So let's talk a little bit about making your own rules. So we've tried to design automate pricing to really be flexible and allow you to cater these rules specifically to your business strategies. So with that, you can create your own rules. We won't talk about all of the options here, but you can see the view offers a bunch of different parameters that you can enter that allow you to specify the exact behavior you want automate pricing to have when we process events and update your price. Once you set those rules, you can then go enroll those SKUs directly into the rule. And again, we'd like to emphasize that automate pricing is designed for you to stay in control. So you can stop and start rules whenever you want. If you have a rule associated with a SKU, that does not mean you're unable to set a manual price if you want. You can pause those rules and set your manual prices. We'll also only make price updates on the products that you explicitly designate to us. So we'll never apply automate pricing to your entire catalog. It will always be only on the SKUs that you select. And again, you can use those parameters in the rule creation to really dial in exactly how you want the behavior to set for your particular business. We will honor the min and max prices, so whatever you have already set will never go above or below those. Another way to automate your business is through the use of APIs. So for those of you who may be unfamiliar with what APIs are ways that you can connect software to Amazon that allows you to get the data necessary to make pricing decisions. There are two different ways to use our APIs. One is to directly write your own software that implements your pricing strategies. And another is through a third-party integrator that will use our APIs to build apps similar to Automate Pricing. So we'll talk about that first case first. We have a couple of APIs here. We won't talk about all of them. If you are looking for more information on our APIs, I highly recommend looking at our Selling Partner API documentation. That site has a ton of great information on getting started with our APIs and how to use them across various business functions. But the ones we'll highlight here are any offer changed notification. So this is really the workhorse behind any automated pricing application. It'll send you a message anytime a featured offer has changed on one of your products. Any of the top 20 offers have changed, so if another seller changes their price, you'll get a notification, as well as if that external price threshold has changed. So you can use the data in those messages to process through software whatever price update you want to make and then submit it back to Amazon. The information has a variety of key data elements, like I mentioned. So the most important ones being, what is the current featured offer price? What is the full offer list of items on that product across all sellers? And then we also have key product attributes such as sales rank and the product category. We also have the pricing health notification. So similar to any offer change, this will send you a message when you've become ineligible for the featured offer, either due to an uncompetitive price or because of an atypically high price. In the case of an uncompetitive price, we'll give you what that threshold looks like so you know the exact price you need to set to become eligible again. In the case of atypically high prices, we do have a variety of reference prices you can use. If you set your price to any of those, you'll regain featured offer eligibility. Some of those include the ASP of the item, the Amazon retail price if Amazon retail is selling the product, as well as the list price for MSRP. The last one we'll talk about is the Get Competitive Summary API. So this is a new API we launched last year that we're really excited, which gives you higher granular data in relation to the featured offer. So some of you may notice from either shopping on Amazon or selling on Amazon, who receives featured offer placement can depend on the physical location of the customer as well as the Prime status of the customer. So for example, a Prime customer in Seattle might see a different featured offer than a non-Prime customer that's in New York. So to help give you better information on this, the Get Competitive Summary API is going to show you all of the featured offers that are currently being shown to customers, along with data that's related to the share of customer demand that those are receiving. So in the case of the Seattle and New York offers, we'll actually show you both and give you the share of customers in terms of percentage of traffic that each is receiving. So this allows you to really ensure that you're making more informed pricing decisions and know exactly what that landscape looks like across your competition. The other way to use our APIs is through third-party integrators and apps. So some of you may be using these today. You can think of these automated pricing applications as similar to the Amazon version of Automate Pricing. Some of them offer additional features above the Automate Pricing feature in Seller Central, such as the ability to set prices across different channels. So if you sell on multiple websites, a lot of these apps will offer you the ability to make sure your prices are in sync and their repricing strategies will work across all of your different channels. If you're looking for a third-party integrator or just want to learn more about it, I would recommend going to our Selling Partner App Store. That has all of the third-party apps across all the business functions on Amazon, not just pricing. But from there, you can see our Automate Pricing category page, see all of the different apps. You can see their customer reviews. You can see the key features that they offer customers. There's even a link to their website that gives you more information, and usually we'll have a demo for you to look at as well. So what improvements do we have coming for next year? Well, we'd really like to improve, and we're doing work to improve the pricing health dashboard. So specifically in those pricing errors section of that, we're going to add the ability to download your pricing errors as well. I mentioned you can download your featured offer in eligible ASINs. We'll add the ability to download your pricing errors as well. We'd like to help you all find pricing errors and atypically high prices before you list. So all of the tools we talked about are very reactive, where if you've submitted a price, we have tools to design for you to be notified and to take corrective action. We're going to add features next year that lets you know when you're at the time of price submission that these things are going to happen, so you don't have to go through that feedback loop. For instance, in our APIs, if you're submitting price updates, we'll be adding error messages and the ability to have Amazon reject a price that may be resulting in a deactivation due to a price error or a featured offer ineligibility. We also have a few improvements coming to the automate pricing feature as well. So most notably, our featured offer price strategy will do a better job at ensuring you're the featured offer, as well as enrollment through APIs. So if you are looking for simple rules and you don't want to build your own automated repricing strategy application yourself, you'll be able to directly enroll in SKUs right from our APIs. So the key takeaways, first one is that pricing competitively is very important because your featured offer eligibility depends on it. And it means that your price is at or below the lowest price we can find at other reputable retailers outside of Amazon. And it is a prerequisite for being the featured offer. We do also have other mechanisms that can make you ineligible for the featured offer if your price is higher than typical or higher than the recent sales price, the featured offer, or the list price. We also have a variety of tools that allow you to stay on top of this stuff. So the pricing health page allows you to see those featured offer ineligible ASINs, those pricing errors. Automate pricing allows you to reduce the manual effort needed to continually make price adjustments. And our APIs allow you to connect software directly to Amazon to receive the data that's required to make these automated pricing decisions.